Now, with Facebook being one of the biggest data companies in the world, they've created a lot of statistics over the years. So right now, worldwide, there are over 1.86 billion people on Facebook. And in Europe, 307 million people are on Facebook. So it's not just a US thing. But also on mobile, there's 1.15 billion mobile daily active users. That's why Facebook is kind of becoming mobile first. Now, all these stats are great, but the question I get the most from anybody that I train or anybody who I kind of speak to and I'm trying to help them grow their social media or just their online presence are things like, how do I get more likes? How do I get more followers? Or I have X amount of followers and when I send a message, I'm preaching to the converted. They know what it's about. How do I get more? And the reason why people are struggling, and I would say this is probably one of the main reasons why people are struggling to grow their social media or their online presence, is because over the last few years, there's been a big split in social media. So this is Andrew Davis from thinkingoutsidtheblog.com, where I'm trying to show as many people as possible how to use all this digital stuff to either help build your business, make money online, climb the corporate ladder, but ideally to use it to help build that lifestyle that all of these tools can actually help you build. Now, at the end of this video or audio, depending on how you consume this, on my website, there will be a link for you to download the funnel that I'm about to show you or I'm about to talk about. So feel free to go on my website, thinkingoutsidtheblog.com, and download that funnel. Now, the split. The best way for me to describe this split is through an example. And that is, imagine if I'm a musician. By the way, I'm not. I can't sing to save my life. But imagine if I'm a musician and I came up to you in the street and I said, hey, buy my CD. Now, anybody under the age of 25, CDs is what we used to listen to before kind of MP3 players and Spotify and all that came along. But for the sake of the example, I came up to you and I said, buy my CD. You're going to look at me and be like, no, why would I just buy your CD? I've not heard you. But imagine if you was at a festival or a concert and you heard me sing and you liked what you heard. You'll say to yourself, actually, I want to find out more. And you might like me on Facebook or subscribe to my email list or connect with me on Instagram or something like that. So what happened there was I had to give you something to get that like or to get permission for me to continue marketing to you. And what I had to give you was content. Now, the reason why I'm saying this to you is if I didn't give you that content, you're always going to be struggling to sell whatever product that you're trying to get. In this case, obviously a CD. And the reason why this is important is because it really defines the split in social media. And the split in social media is we now have the visual web and the community-focused web. The visual web are sites like YouTube, Pinterest, Medium, your website, SlideShare, Instagram, where you can come across content or somebody can find your content via search and by algorithms, whether they're searching keywords or hashtags or they're seeing your, let's say, video on the side where it says related video. And you can have one video with no community or nobody to kind of contact first and do well off of these sites. So you've got the visual web. And then you've got the community-focused web. And the community-focused web are sites like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, your email, WhatsApp, Slack. These are all sites that you kind of need to build your community first to continue speaking to people. So let's say, for example, if it was WhatsApp, I can't contact you via WhatsApp unless I have your phone number. Or I can't email you unless I have your email address. And in the case of Facebook, if you're not connected to my, say, business page, it'll be very difficult for you to come across my content on Facebook because it's not structured that way. And we don't have the habit of searching on Facebook as we do on, say, the visual web like YouTube. So when I talk about the singer and you heard me sing, that's essentially what the visual web does. It puts you in a position so people can hear your content or listen to your content or read your content or consume the content in however way. Your aim is to get people from the visual web to the community focused web. Because once I like, let's say, a video and I want to find out more, I might like you on Facebook. Or I might subscribe, because the visual web also has a community as well. You can build communities there. There is grey here. But hopefully you understand what I mean. So you've got to look at it as if this was a shop. So when I hear people say they're preaching to the converted, it's almost like you've got a shop and you've got, say, 10 people in the shop and you've got nobody outside trying to get people in. All you've got is people in the shop, which is just like having a Facebook page or just like having a Twitter page. You need someone outside the shop getting people in. But if you just focused on people outside the shop trying to get people in and nobody was looking after the people in the shop, eventually they would leave. So you really need to cover both. So when it comes to social media right now, you need to be involved in the visual web and also the community focused web. Now, where this may change slightly is if you have a big community already. Because if you have a big community already, you have the luxury of really community management and getting those guys who's part of your community to do a lot of the sharing and the promotion for you. So a lot of the times you have these big sites that do well, they might not be focusing as much on the visual web because they've got big communities to do that work for them. But if you haven't got a big community, you really need to look at the visual and the community focused web. Now, I get this question a lot. Andrew, there are a million of social media sites. What one should I focus on? Or right now I'm on Facebook and I'm on Twitter, but I'm not seeing the growth. Shall I go onto LinkedIn? Now, the problem with that is you're focusing on the community focused web. And if you don't bring in people into your shop or people on the visual web, you're always going to struggle. So the answer is not, I'm not doing well on Facebook, let me create another community focused web. The answer is, what can I put on the visual web? And I hope this really makes sense. And if you're watching this, you obviously see the slide, so hopefully the visual makes sense. If you're listening to this, please go to my website and download the PDF of what I'm talking about. Because something as simple as that is usually the reason why people are struggling. They've not got someone outside flying for them. So because they've not got someone outside flying for them, people are not hearing your message. And because they're not hearing your message, they're not going to join you. But like I said, most people start in the community focused web and wonder why people are not subscribing or wonder why they're preaching to the converted. The best example, as I said before, was WhatsApp. If I don't have your phone number, I can't speak to you. And if I do have your phone number, I'm only going to speak to the people's phone numbers that I've got. I need to get more phone numbers. So hopefully that made sense. Your action point today really is to think to yourself, what am I doing in the visual web or what am I doing in the community focused web? Or if you're doing stuff in both, how can you increase what you're doing in the visual and the community focused web? And going back to my 5 fundamental principles, when I talked about the foundations of this series, one of them was the TAN model. And I talked about traffic, action, nurture. This essentially is what it's about. Traffic is the visual web. You need people to take action, which might be to like you or connect with you or follow you. And nurture is the community focused web. As I said, if you want the PDF of the slides to kind of understand the funnel, please go to my website, thinkingoutsidetheblog.com, and somewhere on this page where you're listening, there will be a link there. Hopefully it made sense. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will speak to you later.